Alright guys, I'm going to show you some tweak tools that I've been experimenting with. First one you already probably have. It's just a ordinary clamp. It's pretty tight, and I use these to tweak my invisibases, the speed invisibases. What I do, I just clamp it on the prong where the platform and the prong meet, and it cuts into it and loosens it up. On the wider speed invisibases, you can clamp on and let it sit for a couple of seconds, maybe 3 or 4 seconds. On the thinner ones, you just want to clamp on and open it up, and it loosens that prong up where it runs better. To prepare this, if you look through the end, look through a light, have a light at this end right here, and look through it. And if you can see, and you look through this end right here, if you see a space in here or light, then you want to take your sandpaper, just grab it and just keep pulling until you get rid of that space. Okay. On another tool that I showed you before is the fish skinner. And the only thing I'm doing different now with the fish skinner is I'm taking that sharp edge off simply by just pulling on the sandpaper until the edge is gone. Then I might sand a little bit to round it out. That gives you more control over your pliers. It mitigates the chance of you cutting into your prong too deep. Okay, and the thing about these tools that I'm using, if you notice, they all have a space. There's nothing stopping this prong, I think, this tool from closing up and let me give as much pressure as I want on the prong. Whereas your regular pliers, I don't have any with me, but on your regular, I just use these Zerons for an example. The Zerons have a space in between the two jaws that allows you to get a good squeeze without these two jaws meeting in the middle. You know, on your regular pliers, once they meet in the middle, the jaws meet in the middle, you're not going to get any more squeeze out of it. You can squeeze hard as you can, but you're not going to get any more pressure on the prong. So what I did with this Zeron, I took my grinder and I took some of the jaws out. So the only contact point on the prong is at the end. Okay, and I'm going all the way down on the prong, and I'm just mashing that bottom part. I'm not mashing any other part on the prong but what's raised up on the end. You really can't see that good, but okay. Another tool that I use, I've been testing out, I had good results on it, great results on it. It's a glass breaker. Now this is a glass breaker. Alright, and if you notice, it has a space in between. And that's the only contact point. So I'm going all the way down on the prong and squeezing at the bottom. You don't have to go all the way down. You can come up some, but I like to go all the way down. Actually, I do both. Now this glass breaker has been modified. Look, you see if you look at them side by side, I took my Dremel and I ground down this top part and the bottom part so I can fit into the prong, between the base and the prong. And also I took my sandpaper, just like I did my other, and I ground it down till both jaws met level. Okay, and the more you sand, the more space or the more contact area you're going to have, because you're going to be sanding down a small area to a larger area. So been using these glass cutters and they work pretty good. Another thing I've been using is vice grips. If you notice the space, alright, and what I did was I took my Dremel and I shaped the ends to where they would fit in between the prong and the base. Alright, I have different, this is a thin contact area on this one. I have a wider contact area on that one. And I use well, same with this one. On this one though, I got to the point there where I wasn't getting enough pressure, so I had to take my Dremel and grind this part out right here. They were touching it first, and it was stopping me from getting as much pressure as I needed. And on these vice grips, what I do is I tighten up till hand tighten till I can't tighten anymore, and I put a mark on the end, and that tells me, that lets me know how much pressure I can. It's more of a gauge. See, if I turn it that way, I put more pressure on it. Turn it more, and I get more pressure. And the reason I'm using these vice grips is I'm trying to get the same amount of pressure on each prong when I mash. And if I know that I had it set for this spot right here on the first one, I can set it on all of the others, and I got real good results. And last but not least, this is something I think everybody, if you Okay, and this last piece of equipment that I've been using. This is a piece of equipment that dentists use. It uses induction heating. Yeah. They use it to heat up their tools when they're using wax. Right now, this tool is at 75 degrees. And what you do is you stick it inside. That light will go off. Stick it in again. And that has went from 75 degrees to 119 degrees. Okay. Usually for a prong, okay, I got another pair of pliers. $78 degrees. Usually I'll stick it in about 3 times with these pliers right here, and it's up to 115, 114 degrees. Just let me stick it in there 3 times. So this is a good tool if you're gonna use heat to tweak with. It heats up fast. You figure out what temperature the prongs melt at, or what temperature is best to use on the prongs. And you can heat all your prongs at a safe temperature using a thermometer and this unit right here.